Hello and welcome to another Europa Universalis 5 video. Now, yesterday, the release date was finally announced. That release date, if you've missed it, is the 4th of November. 76 days away. 76 days until the game is fully out, fully playable, fully enjoyable by everyone who wishes to play it. Now, I can confirm, I'm allowed to confirm that for the past week I have had access to another in-development branch of the game again, and I've really been enjoying it. I have put in the past week around about 45 hours in 7 days, which seems like quite a lot, especially when you consider I have a job and a family. But I think that kind of goes to show that I have been enjoying the game quite a lot, and I have. I think Paradox is doing something really quite special with just allowing us to talk about our experiences without any real restrictions at all, to be honest. I am not going to give a review, but I can say I have been enjoying it. I've been playing mostly in Italy again because it's just my favorite place to play in the game so far. And yeah, it's been going really well. There have, however, been a couple of concerns that I've seen some people bring up that I would like to address in this video right here. So, before we get into that though, I would like to say that another thing the Paradox has done that has been really quite nice and special and such is they have given the creators who have access to the game now, we have all now got affiliate links, where if you purchase the game through our affiliate links, we get a small cut of that sale, 12% to be exact. So if you are of the inclination to pre-purchase the game, then I would say that I have an affiliate link in the description and also the pinned comment of this video, and you know, it would help me out, it would help out the channel, and I would really appreciate that. But anyway, the concerns. I would like to try and put some minds at ease about some concerns. And let's start off with the DLC. The DLC release roadmap has been announced here. We are going to be getting, in the first year, 4 DLCs. We have an instant unlock release of Sacred Sites. We have the Fate of the Phoenix, which is all about the Eastern Roman Empire. We have Across the Pillars, which is about Castile and Morocco. And then we have the Old Alliance, which is about Scotland and France. Now, if you purchase these with the expensive version of the game, let's say, which is your regional equivalent, or 85 euros, versus the 60 euros of the base game, you will be saving around about 20%. Over buying the base game and then buying these individually on release. Some smart cookie that is not me did the maths on this, and that amounts to around about 104 euros that it would cost if you bought the base game and then these. Now, I think that this instant unlock of Sacred Sites, which is just some monuments, probably not going to be more than 5 euros to purchase individually. Which leaves around about 40 euros on these 3 DLCs. Fate of the Phoenix is an immersion pack, and it is only covering the Roman Empire that we can see, right? Here, as the Byzantine Empire, revive and restore the faded glory of your Roman roots. I would argue that that is somewhat less content than, say, Across the Pillars, which is being described as a chronicle pack. Decide the fate of the strategically vital Strait of Gibraltar with new options for Castile and Morocco. 1 country, 2 countries. And then the Old Alliance, France and Scotland, another 2 countries. Although you could also argue that the English are involved there, as we often have a chance and a preference for inserting ourselves in certain situations. But 2 countries, 1 country. My guess, and this is an assumption, this is not based on any kind of hard knowledge that I am aware of, is that Sacred Sites might be €5, leaving €40 for these three. A €10, a €15, and a €15 is my guess. And again, or your regional equivalent. But if you compare buying the €85 to get all of this, or the €105 to get the base game and all of these DLCs, that's a difference, you know? That's €20 you're saving. And if you are the kind of person that will buy these anyway, regardless, because you are a super fan like myself, it might be worth it. It might be worth it to you. Personally, I am in a privileged position where Paradox will give me the keys anyway. But before I was in that privileged position, I also did purchase these, and I would do again if I somehow lost that privileged position. But that's the deal with DLCs. That is, look, at the end of the day, there's always going to be people who are unhappy that DLC exists anyway. And I think for the most part, those people need to kind of move with the times. Paradox really came onto the scene, put on the map in a big way with CK2. And that is when they introduced the DLC policy that, with minor changes and such, they've continued using to this day. Regular updates, regular DLCs that have been purchased alongside free updates has been their kind of mantra for the past 13, 14 years. I can't remember when CK2 was released. And it's really worked for them, and I think that's what we're going to be getting here as well. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the Paradox DLC model, and I know that's a controversial statement to make, but I just kind of am. But it is what it is. I do have a couple of comments to share with you as well. Paradox Sankey here saying that there are no big expansions in the Premium Edition. We'll focus on the game itself while we learn together with the players where we should go with the first expansion, which I think, in general, that's probably a pretty good policy to have. I also have this comment from him that I am allowed to share with you. This is from Sankey again. I want to give a few comments about the Premium Edition and DLC strategy, since I saw some EU4 players a bit confused about it. If you play our other games, you'll have noticed we started to focus on having big expansion passes, or chapters, for CK3, where we lay down the path ahead for players, making things easier to understand and see where we're headed. This is the same goal they have for EU5 after they're done with the Premium Edition, those 4 DLCs. For the Premium Edition, they don't have any Day 1 DLC. Sure, there is an instant unlock, but it's more of a cosmetic pack than a DLC. And I would agree with that. I wouldn't say this is a Day 1 DLC in the understood term that DLC is. Like, you can say, oh, technically it is a downloadable content, but whatever. In that case, the game itself is downloadable content, but whatever. We'll not get into details about the DLC's content yet, but you'll see we aim to have one DLC every 3 months or so, and they're not gutting pieces of the main game and selling it in DLC. They'll develop them over time while keep updating the game itself for free. This is the important part. This is why I think that Paradox's model is good. I think this is why Paradox's model is superior to many other post-release content models out there. This is basically the big deal for me. If you look at EU4 on release, no DLCs. EU4 now, no DLCs. The game has changed remarkably. Even if you go back before they included some of the DLCs in the base game, the game got updates on every single DLC release, and they were good things to happen to the game. There have been some misses, like when Common Sense came out and it kind of bricked the game for people who didn't buy the DLC because the development system, sure, that sucked. I think they've learned from that. I don't think we're going to get a situation like that again. Finally, you'll also notice that unlike CK3 and Vic3, we do not have an expansion in the Premium Edition. This comes from our learnings with those games, where we're a bit limited on how much time we could spend on improving the game post-release and also decide where we could go with new expansions after we learn what players want from the game. So they've chosen not to do one in the premium edition itself, but they do plan to have game-changing expansions in future expansion passes. This part, look, on the one hand, it is a good thing that we have, updates for free and DLC coming out over time. I think that's a good thing. My personal preference is for flavor and cosmetics and music and the kind of things that don't affect gameplay to be paid for, whereas all of the mechanical changes are part of the free update. That's my personal preference. What we're going to be getting here is that for the most part. When it comes to Chronicles, I think that's flavor is fine to have in a DLC. So the Chronicles here, the whatever they call the other one, I've forgotten already. That's fine. But what we're getting here as well is big ticket, like, headline expansions as well. Like in CK3 with Royal Court or the opening of All of China. I have no idea what's coming. I have no idea what's going to come. And at this point, neither does Paradox, because they are going to learn what players are wanting after the games come out, after the people are saying, look, this is awesome, this is less awesome, this is where we could see some expansion, this is where we could see some changes. And the plan is to wait until that kind of feedback is in, wait until they can, have the first few months of the game's life, making balance changes that, 100,000 people playing the game will bring to the table. Make all of these kind of little changes instead of really focusing on a big ticket expansion pass. The ones that we're getting, these Chronicles, the Immersion Pack, these are not really mechanical changes. These can be done by people without an intimate knowledge of how to code in C++ or whatever language the game is written in. This is the kind of thing that modders can do, sure. But I think it is important to have that kind of content also be created by Paradox. It can't just be down to modders, of course. So yeah, that's basically where we're coming from. What we're going to be getting from the expansions. I'm looking forward to seeing what they come up with, and the fact that they're waiting until they get some player feedback before they decide where this is going, I think is a good thing. I think that is a very, very good thing. And also, I'm allowed to share this. Just thought I'd put that final line in as well. So yeah, no big expansions in Premium Edition. Cool stuff. I'm okay with this. I'm happy with this situation. Another thing that we learned when this Steam page was updated with the release date is we learned about the system requirements. And they are a little bit beefy. They are a little bit beefy. That is kind of undeniable. i7 8700K, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 1060 for the low end, for playing it at 1080p at 30 FPS. The recommended specs, i7 14700K, 32 gigs of RAM, and a 6700 XT with 12 gigs of VRAM. But that is for playing the game at 4K at 60 FPS. What I can say from my experience, as I said, I've been playing the game for the past week, is that performance over this past week, compared to when I had the game back in April and May, is remarkably different. They have improved the performance to an insane degree. The game runs better, it's less choppy, it's not laggy, there's been no crashes that I've personally had, and if this is the experience that people get on release, I think they are going to be pretty happy. Now, my PC is not potato. It's also not top of the line. I don't meet these recommended specs. Yes, I do have 32 gigs of RAM, but I have a, you know what, I'll bring it up. I have a 3060 Ti and a, wherever the thing is in here, a Ryzen 5 5600. So this is not top of the line. It's not this. It's not this either. But this is for playing at 4K. I'm personally playing at 2K at 60 FPS very reasonably, and they're not finished with optimizing the game. They're just not. There has been a lot of people talking on the forums, of course, as there always is, and Johan here saying that he developed the game on an i7-11700. It's been a while since I've really been into computer specs and such, but so I have no idea how powerful this is, how good it is, or whatever, but you can make comparisons to that. Arctis here, I might be fine with my i5 1150 or 11500 at 1080p. You're here saying you should be perfectly fine. 6 gigs of VRAM and 16 gigs of memory probably do you just fine, which I'm kind of happy with. There's also a thread here by Rosarnes, who did the hardware requirements for the game. He noticed that the requirements they've posted create a lot of uncertainty in our community, so he's here to clarify and explain what the performance targets are and the process. Starting with minimal requirements, our performance objective is that they have an average of 30 FPS with 1080p resolution with the game running in low preset. So you still get to experience the beautiful terrain map and all 3D elements just with a bit lower quality. I will say as well, if you are playing with the game and you are seeing your graphics be the bottleneck for you, you can change to the paper map and still have a very enjoyable experience. If we go to the here, there is that's what the paper map looks like. It's perfectly playable. You can totally enjoy this as your gaming experience. There are people that I have played multiplayer with who do have potato PCs, and I am going to enforce that they play with this map so that we don't lag, if that is something that ends up being an issue. The fact that this is in the game already, and we don't have to have a mod called Potato Universalis on the workshop day one, is perfectly reasonable. But of course, if your graphics are better, then you can play with it looking like this. I'm personally going to play with it like this. I think this looks gorgeous. I think the map is looking really, really good and improving all the time. Yeah, so that's what I will do. But if you're wanting to play with terrain map, we have now got a comparison of what low settings and high settings are. So here is the low settings, and I'd argue it still looks pretty decent. Obviously, it's not top of the line quality, but this is the absolute bare minimum lowest settings possible. Also, Sitges is like here. This is where the game was made, right here. But this is the lowest settings, and then if we go to maximum settings, that's what we got. I'd argue that's not terrible. It's not that bad. I think, as far as it goes, I think if you can play at this level of quality, absolutely go ahead, you will have a great time. If you can't, I don't think this is going to impact your play to a degree where you're not going to find it enjoyable, to be honest. But the recommended requirements, of course, are for playing at 60 FPS in 4K with ultra settings, and that's what you'll get with this, which is kind of cool. But anyway, that's where I'm going to leave this video here. I want to thank you all very much for watching. Before I go, though, EU5, if we look at the global sellers list and we sort by, firstly, games, and secondly, that aren't free to play, EU5 is the best-selling game so far. It is beating out Battlefield 6. It is beating out Peak. It's beating it all out. So that's really, really cool to see. I'm super stoked to see that, and I think it deserves it. I honestly think it deserves it because, like I said, I've played about 45 hours in the past week, and as soon as I've uploaded this video, I'm gonna go play some more because I am enjoying the game that much. If you wish to enjoy the game on release and you are interested in pre-purchasing it, feel free to give my affiliate link a click. Helps me out, and it doesn't cost you any extra. You also don't get a discount. The only difference is I get a little bit of kickback. So if you're feeling generous to me, you can do that and help me out. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video, which will all be about the UI and the UI systems. That should become, actually, as I record this, that dev diary should have been out about half an hour ago. I will be making a video on that as soon as I've got a bunch of developer comments to look at as well. It should be a good time. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.